Paul Merson makes Dele Alli prediction under Frank Lampard's guidance at Everton. Dele Alli could be starring for England again at the next World Cup if he makes a success of his move to Everton. And I think Frank Lampard is just a man to get him back to the sort of form which made him such hot property. It's a gamble because it's been a while since Dele Alli was any good. But let's be honest, 4 or 5 years ago we were talking about him being the best young player in the world. We were talking about teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid wanting him and wondering how far he could go in the game. If he can get back to that, he can get back in the England team and be a massive help to Everton. If anyone can get that out of him, it's Frank. I think Dele Alli just needed a change of scene. He'd gone stale at Spurs. Now he's got another chance. Frank is probably the only person who can get it out of him. He played the same way. Dele Alli only got to where he was because of the way he played. He made late runs. He got in the box. He was a good finisher. That's exactly what Frank Lampard did for years for Chelsea. They understand each other's game. Then all of a sudden Dele Alli started changing his game, picking it up off the holding midfielder and spraying it around and flicking it around here and there. He lost his way completely. But if he can find his way again, he can be a great player again. And now, he's working under the best in the world of his generation at making runs from midfield and scoring goals in Frank Lampard. That could work. As a manager, Frank doesn't usually set his teams up with a player like that in mind. He likes playing 4-3-3. Now he's got to find a way to make it work. But I think he'll find a way. If Dele starts making those runs again and starts scoring goals, then I think Everton have got an absolute gem because nobody likes chasing back after a goal-scoring midfielder. I think you've probably got to play Dele Alli in behind the striker. He played all his best stuff for Spurs when he was just behind Harry Kane. There will probably be a lot of disappointed players at Everton because Demarai Gray has been one of their best players this season and Andros Townsend has done well too. Now they have more competition and they might not get in the team. That's going to be difficult for them. But Everton are going to have a go. You can tell that by the way they signed Dele Alli and Donny van de Beek. Do you think Dele and Donny will be a hit at Everton? Let us know in the comments section. Dele needs a run in the team. Under the last few Spurs managers, when he played he knew he'd be the first one off if he didn't perform. That gets into a player's head sometimes. Now he should have a real chance. And he'll have a manager who can show him when to make his run, where to go, and find a system that suits him. When somebody drops deep, that's Dele Alli's trigger to sprint, and you have to have passers like Van de Beek who can find him. With those two signings, if you're an Everton fan, you can tell you're having a go. They're not defensive players. They want to get in the box and score. I think it could be happy times for Everton, I really do. I can't see them going down. Frank will have a go in games. He always does. At Chelsea when they were struggling to score, he would always change it up to win the game. He wasn't happy to take a draw. He'll make it fun to watch. I really hope Luis Diaz going to Liverpool doesn't mean Mo Salah is off, because that would be the biggest disgrace ever. It took them 30 years to get back to being a force, to dominating teams again, to winning big trophies, and having that reputation. To get to that point and let the best player in the world go would be absolutely mind-blowing. I don't care how much he wants. He's the best player in the world. And these fans have waited and waited for success like this. Pay him what he wants. This is Liverpool Football Club. The owner wouldn't think twice about paying his star pitcher at the Boston Red Sox big money. What makes Salah any different? No one scores goals like Salah does. He plays on the wing, but he puts up the kind of figures other players can only dream of. He looks like scoring every game he plays. It doesn't matter how good Diaz is. He's not going to put up the sort of figures Salah does. Absolutely not. And if you're Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool let Salah go, what message does that send you? You've turned him into the best in the world and just let him go? I'd be so disappointed. West Ham didn't sign anyone in the window, and I think it's going to be difficult for them to finish in the top 6. But I can sort of understand why they haven't spent their money. If you look at the table, if the teams below them win their games in hand, they slip to 8th. If they were fighting with one other team for the top 4, I think they might have taken a chance and spent big. But I don't think West Ham are in a position to bring in many £40 million, £50 million players on £150,000 a week to end up finishing 7th or 8th. I don't think that's good business and I don't think the timing was right for them. People say it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance to get in the top 4. But look at the league table and it tells a different story. There's a lot of teams around them And if you bought 2 players, by the time they settled you could already be 8th. It's a hard call. We could all spend someone else's money. But I don't have a problem with what they've done at all. I can understand it. They won't have teams take liberties with them and get into a bidding war with anyone.